Have you ever wondered what happens when your heart stops beating even for a moment? What if I told you that an ordinary man, a simple math teacher, had an extraordinary encounter with the saints during a cardiac arrest? This is not a fictional story, but a real experience that changed Giovanni Sportillo's life forever. A near-death experience that will change your outlook on life forever. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon, a day like many others in the small country town where Giovanni Sportillo lived. 54 years old, John was a well-respected and well-liked man, a mathematics teacher beloved by his students, and a loyal devotee of his local parish. Every Sunday, without exception, he sat in his favorite spot in the church of San Michele Arcangelo, a small, ancient stone church that dominated the center of the village. Giovanni was a simple man, but his faith was deep and sincere. Father of 2 children and devoted husband, his life was marked by the daily routine, but always with one eye turned to heaven. Every day, he devoted himself passionately to his work and his family, even finding time to volunteer in the parish. But that Sunday, something extraordinary was about to happen. That Sunday, the afternoon mass was held as usual. The church was packed with faithful, and Giovanni, as always, was sitting near the altar, where he could better hear the words of the parish priest, Don Fausto. But just as Don Fausto spoke about the importance of forgiveness and compassion, Giovanni felt a sudden, searing pain in his chest. It was a pain so intense that it took his breath away, and in an instant, Giovanni collapsed to the ground. Panic quickly spread among those present. Maria, an elderly lady who always sat next to Giovanni, cried out for help. A young doctor present among the faithful rushed to him, immediately starting resuscitation maneuvers. Time seemed to stand still as everyone waited with bated breath. The ambulance was called, but in the meantime, inside Giovanni's mind, something extraordinary was happening. As his heart stopped beating and his body lay still on the cold church floor, John found himself in a completely different place. Suddenly, he found himself surrounded by a warm, welcoming light, a light that was not blinding, but rather comforting, like a mother's embrace. He felt an indescribable peace, a stark contrast to the pain and fear he had just felt. John stood in a vast green field, where brightly colored flowers swayed gently beneath a cloudless blue sky. The air was fresh and pure, filling his lungs with every deep breath. As he walked effortlessly, he realized he was not alone. Bright, smiling figures approached him, exuding an aura of love and serenity. Among these figures, John immediately recognized some of the saints he had often read and prayed about. Saint Francis of Assisi, with his serene face and eyes full of compassion, was the first to approach. John felt a sense of wonder and humility at being in the presence of one of his favorite saints. Saint Francis smiled at him and, in a gentle voice that resonated deep within him, spoke to him, "John, you were a man of great faith and love. Do not be afraid, you are here to receive an important message." Alongside Saint Francis, other sacred figures appeared, Saint Teresa of Lisieux, with her young and radiant face, and Saint John Paul II, whose paternal smile radiated warmth. Each saint brought with him an indescribable sense of peace, and John immediately felt welcomed and loved. The saints began to communicate with him, not with words, but with thoughts and feelings that poured directly into his mind and heart. They spoke to him about the importance of faith, the need to love and forgive, and the beauty of eternal life. John understood that these words were not just for him, but for all those he would meet upon his return. At that moment, he felt that his life had acquired a new purpose, a new mission. Suddenly, Giovanni felt a strong pull, as if an irresistible force was pulling him back. The light began to fade and the flower field dissolved around him. He heard a final, sweet whisper from the saints, "Remember what you have seen and heard, John. Carry this message to the world." With a start, Giovanni opened his eyes and found himself lying on the cold floor of the church, surrounded by worried faces. The young doctor was still performing CPR when Giovanni began to breathe again. The ambulance arrived shortly after, but Giovanni was already conscious, with eyes full of tears and a peaceful smile on his face. Don Fausto approached, taking Giovanni's hand. "Welcome back, Giovanni. We were very worried." Still stunned by the experience, Giovanni could only whisper, "I saw the saints, Don Fausto. They spoke to me. I must tell everyone what I experienced." Over the next few days, John spent much time reflecting on what he had seen and heard. The images of the saints and their words constantly resonated in his mind, instilling in him a sense of peace and purpose he had never felt before. The fear of death was gone, replaced by a profound serenity and understanding of life after death. But it wasn't just an internal change. Giovanni began to see the world with new eyes. Every little thing, from the morning dew on the flower petals at the smile of a child, it took on a deeper meaning. He decided to speak openly about his experience, sharing the message of love and forgiveness that had been communicated to him, so that it could become a message of hope for everyone. The positive impact his story had on the community was undeniable. And Don Fausto declared that Giovanni's story would be a testimony of faith. Giovanni Sportillo's story has become an example of hope and inspiration for many. Giovanni continues to live in his small village. He continues to dedicate his time to helping others. But now he carries out the most important task, sharing the message of love and compassion that has been entrusted to him, demonstrating that life is a precious gift and that faith can illuminate even the darkest moments. John's experience invites us to reflect on our life and our faith. It reminds us that regardless of our beliefs, there is always room to love, forgive, and hope. John's story challenges us to look beyond what we see and to find the divine in the small things of everyday life, making each day an act of faith and gratitude. Thanks for staying until the end. If you like the topic, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and tell us what you think in the comments. See you in the next video.